I was really excited for my raise. I had been waiting for this moment for a long time. I tried really hard not to smile too big, because I didn't want anyone to think I was too excited or too happy. I had worked so hard. I stayed late every single night for 6 months. I cleaned up the messy computer systems that no one else wanted to touch. I taught 2 interns everything I knew, step by step, so they could help out too. And I fixed a huge disaster that Kaylin caused during the last big project of the quarter. I thought this was my moment. I thought finally, someone would notice me and reward me for all the work I did. But my boss, Rowrick, didn't even look up from his coffee. He just chuckled softly. "What raise?" he said like he was joking. I blinked. "What?" I asked, my voice shaking a little. He didn't answer me. Instead, he turned to the HR lady sitting across the table. They nodded at each other, and she slid a paper across the glass table toward Kaylin. I leaned forward and looked. The header on the paper said, "Salary increase approval, Kaylin Thorne." I felt all the color leave my face. My heart sank. My stomach felt empty. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. HR cleared her throat. "You were never on the list," she said quietly but firmly. Kaylin leaned back in his chair, looking very proud of himself with that smug, "I am better than you look." He gave a little shrug. "Oops," he said, pretending to be sorry. "I meant to tell you." The room went quiet. Not the kind of quiet where everyone is thinking hard. Not the kind of quiet where people feel bad. It was just awkward. A weird, empty quiet. The kind of quiet that happens when people don't care how much you are hurt. The kind of quiet that feels like you are invisible. I stood up slowly. "I see," I said. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't even try to fight. I just turned around and walked back to my desk. I grabbed my coffee mug, my USB stick, and the little plant I had taken care of every single day, watering it and watching it grow through all those late nights. I packed it all quietly. No one followed me. No one tried to stop me. I just left the building. But here's what they didn't know. I had been keeping proof. Every time Kaylin took credit for my work. Every time my reports were ignored. Every time he sent emails pretending he had done things he didn't do. Every single piece of code he claimed as his own, even though I wrote it. I saved it all. I had screenshots, emails, backup copies, and more. I wasn't walking away sad or defeated. I was walking away ready, prepared, and armed. My name is Solara Vey. And if you are reading this, stay with me, because what I did next is something no one expected. 2 weeks went by. 2 long weeks. No calls, no emails. Not even a sorry, it didn't work out. They probably thought I would disappear quietly, like many women they had undervalued before me. They thought I would just fade away and never make a sound. But I didn't disappear. I went back to my apartment. I turned it into a war room. My apartment became like a secret command center. I had every backup of every code I wrote. I had voice recordings of strategy meetings. I had screenshots of Slack conversations where Kaylin literally asked me to give him credit, so he could look smarter. I had everything. Every little proof that could show I had done the work. Kaylin, meanwhile, was busy posting happy selfies online. He looked proud, like he had done something amazing. Rowrick was busy patting himself on the back for being a great boss and nurturing leadership talent. But I was working quietly, planning my next steps. I also had something else, an NDA. That's a non-disclosure agreement. Usually, you have to sign it to keep secrets about your work. But I never signed it. They didn't even think I was important enough to give one. That was their first big mistake. And the second mistake? They underestimated me. I started writing a post for Medium, a website where people write stories and articles. The title was, "How I Built a $1 Million Platform While a Mediocre Man Took My Credit and My Raise." I haven't published it yet. I wanted to give one final warning first. I sent an email straight to Rowrick. The subject line said, "Attribution request. Final chance to make this right." The email was short, professional, and scary if you knew what I had. Rowrick replied 3 hours later. His tone was very different now. "Let's hop on a call," he wrote. I said no. No more talking. No more calls. No more meetings. This was not about talking anymore. This was about action. The next morning, Kaylin emailed me directly. His email said, "Hey Solara, I just wanted to say sorry again. It was never personal. You're great at what you do." I didn't reply. I didn't even read it all the way. I just attached a zip file of the code he claimed as his own. Then I BCC'd the CTO of the company that had just bought our startup for $12 million. That's the chief technology officer, the big boss in charge of the technology part of the company. Then the panic started. I watched it unfold on LinkedIn, a social media site for professionals in real time. Kaylin's promotion post disappeared. Raurich's brag post about being a great leader quietly disappeared too. Then came whispers. Quiet rumors started to spread. Then came the audit. An audit is when people check everything carefully to see if it's correct. And I hadn't even posted the big Medium story yet. It was a Tuesday when the ripple became a wave. Someone sent me a screenshot. The subject line said, "Leaked. Urgent. Internal IP review. Attribution discrepancy. Thorn Kaylin." By Wednesday, Kaylin was off the company's Slack. Slack is a chat program where people in the company talk to each other. By Friday, his LinkedIn headline changed quietly to, "Open to work, former product lead." Except he was never really a lead. He had just stolen my work. And now everyone in the company and in the industry knew. I didn't have to say a single word. The CTO's team did all the checking. They looked at all the code. They saw that Kaylin had not written it. They checked the logs, the records of who wrote what. They found all my work. They found his edits. Oops does not cover stealing someone's work, especially not during a big company buyout. Meanwhile, Raurich tried to save his face. He emailed me. "We'd love to bring you in for a short-term consulting role. Happy to discuss compensation." I laughed out loud. He wanted me back after trying to push me out. I replied, "Raurich, I wouldn't return to that building if it were on fire, and you asked me to blow on the flames." Then I hit publish. My Medium post went live at 10:17 a.m. It took 7 minutes to go viral. By noon, it was trending on Twitter. Headlines started popping up everywhere. "She did the work. He got the raise. She got the last word. Startup queen quietly topples tech bro empire." I started getting interview requests from TechCrunch, Fast Company, The Verge. People shared their own stories in the comments. Women, non-binary devs, interns whose work was erased by louder voices. I wasn't just a name anymore. I was a symbol. Kaylin disappeared from the internet. No tweets, no posts, just rumors. He tried freelancing, but every client Googled his name and canceled. Raurich held onto his VP title like it was a life raft in a storm. But no one in tech took his calls without smirking. He became a cautionary tale in HR seminars. Meanwhile, I hired a team. Half of them were women who had sent me messages after reading my article. People with fire, not fame. We launched our first beta in just 8 weeks. We got funding before we even finished our pitch deck. We didn't just build a product. We built a culture. No stolen credit, no whisper campaigns, no invisible labor. On launch day, someone from my old company tried to tag me in a LinkedIn post to say congratulations. I replied publicly, "Don't get to celebrate what you tried to silence." It got 14,000 likes in under 2 hours. I wasn't just the girl who left a job. I became the woman who rewrote the whole playbook. And they got left behind exactly where they had tried to leave me. Zephira, the head of HR from my old company, the same woman who slid the folder across the table and told me, "You were never on the list," called me from a blocked number. She left a voicemail. "Hi, Solara. I know things didn't end smoothly, but we'd like to talk. There's been a shift in leadership. Maybe there's a way to rebuild." Rebuild as if I was the one who knocked it down. I didn't call back, but I took a screenshot. I saved it in a folder I labeled "They Remember." Later that week, I was invited to speak at a Women in Tech conference. Keynote main stage, 5,000 seats. The intro read, Solara Vey, founder, engineer, systems breaker, and blueprint creator. I stood under the stage lights, my heart hurting, and looked out over a sea of women. Some were fresh out of school, some had fought many battles in the tech world. I told them everything, not just about Kaylin, but about how it feels to watch your work belong to someone else. To hear a laugh after asking for a raise you earned. To be forgotten in meetings, then expected to clap for someone else. The room didn't clap at first. They just sat and listened. Then came the thunder. A standing ovation. It didn't feel like praise. It felt like a release. Afterward, a girl no older than 20 came up to me. Tears in her eyes, fists clenched. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was alone. I shook her hand. "You're not. You never were. You were just quiet." And they built their thrones on that silence. I realized something very important that day. It's not enough to work hard and be quiet. Sometimes you have to speak. Sometimes you have to show the world what you've done. And when people underestimate you, when they ignore you, that's the best time to be ready. That's the best time to act. And that's exactly what I did. That night I got another email. This time it was from Raurich. His words sounded different than before. They were nervous and scared. He wrote that things had changed, that we were wrong, that he was wrong, and asked if we could talk. I didn't reply. I just read it and closed it. The next morning, instead of answering him, I posted a quote online. It said, "When the system breaks you, make your own way. When they erase you, write your own story. And when they finally remember your name, make sure it's on the door, not just an invitation." A lot of people liked it. More than 30,000 people shared it. That felt strange but exciting. I didn't look back at my old life. I wasn't on their list anymore. I was making a new one, a list of people and things that actually mattered to me. After that, they tried to reach me. They sent gifts, mugs with their logo, cards that said, "We miss you," and even a handwritten note from their new CEO. The new CEO had been hired after I showed everyone how Raurik hadn't done his job properly. Cute, right? But I didn't care about old memories, shiny bows, or apologies. I wasn't the person who quietly left the office. I was the one who made leaving them cost more than they could imagine. Then something big happened. A mutual friend sent me a job listing. It was for the director of innovation, the job I had before. The one they had laughed at and told me didn't matter. The salary was $320,000 a year, plus stock options, and remote work was optional. It was my old job with my ideas, my plans, my strategies, all written right there. I didn't laugh. I didn't cry. I just put a sticky note on my calendar that said, Monday, 9:01 a.m. That's when I would apply. It's funny how companies hire for jobs they once said didn't exist. I guess when you make something really valuable, everyone can see it later and think, "Oh, that was obvious." Signed, the woman who left and built her own empire. I didn't use hashtags. I didn't tag anyone. Just the truth. Raw, clean, strong, and simple. The post went viral again. Comments came in. You built what they were scared of. Every burned bridge lit your way forward. By noon, Zephyra from HR emailed me again. Her words said, "We know this door may be closed, but if you ever want to talk, let us know." I replied with one sentence. I don't go back to places where I had to stay quiet to make others comfortable. Then I blocked her and deleted the email. That was the last time I ever heard from them. I didn't just leave their office. I replaced it with something I built myself. They could never copy it because it wasn't just a job. It was mine. I stood across the street from their new office. It was shiny, clean, and had a new logo. But under the surface, it was still the same. I wasn't there to feel nostalgia. I was watching carefully, learning quietly, and planning. While they were busy cleaning up the past, I was buying part of the future. Through Torvik's funding group, I bought most of one of their main suppliers, the company that runs their computer systems. Nobody knew. Not until the contract needed to be renewed. Then I went in, not as an employee, but with a board seat. Raurik wasn't there anymore. Kaylin wasn't there either. But Zephyra saw me right away. Her eyes got wide. She said, "Solara, we didn't know you owned this room now." I smiled. "Now we both do," I said. The meeting was short. They wanted lower prices, special support, and long-term security. I didn't give them any of it. I gave them new rules, strict, expensive, and non-negotiable. When Zephyra hesitated, I leaned in and whispered, "Sign it before someone else who doesn't remember comes next quarter." She signed the papers, hands shaking, without looking at me. I left without shaking anyone's hand. Back in my car, I looked at the city skyline. Towers everywhere, built by people nobody remembers, funded by people nobody respected. And now it was run by me. That night, I had dinner with my new development team. We used plastic cups and laughed until our stomachs hurt. No suits, no bosses, no stolen ideas, just people building something together. After cleaning the table, my phone buzzed. A message came from an unknown number. It said, "You won, Solara. Was it worth it?" I didn't reply. I just whispered to myself, "It's not about winning. It's about owning the ground they thought I should crawl on." 3 months later, I was the keynote speaker at a national tech summit. Huge LED walls lit up the stage. Thousands of people were watching. And guess who was on the second stage? Zephyra. Her new title, Organizational Culture Consultant. Cute, right? No mention of where she came from. Backstage, she walked past me, stopped, and turned. "Solara," she said like we were old friends. "Your work, it's incredible." I cut her off. "Really? What you built is?" Then I made her spell my last name. She blinked and said, "Ley." I shook my head. "It's Lee GH. You signed paperwork with it wrong 3 times, and you laughed saying details didn't matter." Her face went pale. I smiled. Now details mattered. I stepped on the stage. The lights didn't hurt my eyes. I started with this. A year ago, I packed my desk thinking I lost everything. Today, I signed the checks for the company that runs the tools I was denied. People clapped, but I didn't stop for it. I wasn't lucky. I was here because I stopped asking for permission. I saw Zephyra in the crowd, head down, hands folded. Suddenly, I wasn't angry. The girl who once got excited for a raise had become the woman who didn't need one. I made the table, wrote the contracts, and signed my own checks. I told every woman who felt left out, don't just fight for your seat. Own the building. When I stepped off the stage, I didn't look for applause. I didn't need it. The silence that once ignored me now followed me everywhere. Because I had learned something important. It's not about being invited. It's not about being noticed. It's about making your own path. About building your own rules. About creating something that belongs to you. And that's what I did. I didn't just walk away. I turned what seemed like a loss into a new beginning. I didn't ask for their help. I didn't wait for their approval. I took the things I knew were mine, and I made them bigger than they ever imagined. Now, when I look at the skyline, I don't see towers built by people nobody remembers. I see the ground I own, the buildings I've shaped, and the people I've brought with me. People who laugh together, build together, and care about what really matters. Because at the end of the day, it's not about winning. It's not about revenge. It's about owning what is yours, making your own rules, and never letting anyone make you feel small again. And that's exactly what I did.